he can do it, when he can do it, how he does it, and flawlessly execute it time and time again. So Fnatic really going to have to watch out for that. But they do have Soaz up there. They have the innovator. They have that powerhouse in their top lane. The guy has brought so many new champions up there. Lee Sin, Kha'Zix, already banned out by Azubu, both of those. So if anyone's going to put stop to Flames Olaf, could have been him. Instead, they're going to stop it straight with a ban.
Well, I wouldn't be too surprised to see Fnatic actually take out Evelynn. We did see Frost doing that quite a bit against them when they were on the purple side, which Fnatic obviously going to be currently on. And that Olaf, I mean, you kind of have to take him away from Flame. You can't let him play that. And we did see Shen. Oh, there is the Evelynn. I feel like the prophet now. But we did see that Shen actually as well in game number 2 from Blaze. Played exceptionally well. They had the kind of AoE kind of, or not AoE, global kind of composition, which worked out really well for them. But with a lot of these, champions taken out, there's still a lot of, champions, each player plays quite a bit. We do see a Kayle being hovered on right now, which would be a bad champion. I know Ambition has been playing him quite a bit in mid lane with that Nash's Tooth Leandrews kind of build. And that does, in fact, get locked in. And Fnatic, what do you think they're going to try to go for here?
Now, I don't know the champions they're going to go for, but as I said, they were thinking and talking and discussing strategies for quite a while before this game starts. I've had to listen to some of it, and they have a very specific strategy aimed around Twisted Fate. So we're going to leave him open. We don't mind if they pick it. If they do pick it, we'll have to rethink things a little bit, play a different strategy. However, if we see their AP mid early on and it's not Twisted Fate, they have a very specific strategy they want to run around that. So hopefully we're going to see what that is. They do start out with 2 very strong picks in Elise and Mumu, both on Cyanide and Soaz, so they could stay there. Elise in the top lane is very, very strong. Soaz was one of the first to do that as well. Show us exactly how strong she can be. And running that teleport, it switches off, as I say, but if you run that teleport, she can be very mobile around the map, and it's actually got some very strong ganks on there too. And when you combine that with a Mumu, who everyone knows that curses the Sap Mummy at level 6, can be phenomenally powerful in any lane that he decides to appear in. That's a very powerful pairing right there.
Well, Fnatic did pick up this Elise and that Mumu, like we were saying, and that Elise, we haven't seen Soaz actually play him yet this tournament, but I mean, like we're saying, throughout all of yesterday, he is one of those innovators in the top lane. He brought Kha'Zix there, he brought Elise there, he brought Jace there. His Elise has to be top-notch, and I'm sure Flame is going to be watching out for that. But Caitlyn and Lulu going to be picked up here if they will, in fact, be laning together. Well, I mean, they're obviously going to be laning together, but they have extremely quick wave clearing. And you were talking about yesterday how bot lane's kind of, who can push and shove the quickest is most likely going to win that lane.
Yeah, we saw them play this very comp yesterday and we saw them play it on Friday, Blaze Group A. But it would be lane swaps if in the next situation they were against an Olaf, so they went down in the bottom lane, they shoved the turret in, took the turret very, very early on, switched up to mid. Okay, it's not going against Olaf now, but they're still going to have that power. One Glitter Lance up the minion wave, one put over Peacemaker up the minion wave, and everything's dead. You're suddenly on the turret, your opponents are fighting the turret for the creeps, as well as trying to avoid harass, as well as trying to land some harassing. It's a very tough situation to be in. Caitlyn Nunu is incredibly good at that, and Caitlyn herself now, once we get to late game, can do ridiculous amounts of damage even without the support in there. And we've seen Caitlyn Nunu be very popular because of that Blood Boil, because you can get to that terrifying point much quicker without having to buy attack speed items. But if you can do this lane kind of pushing, if you can get this fed, you can get the global objectives, you can get all that CS over your carry, you don't necessarily need that Blood Boil. And we saw what Yellowstar did with Caitlyn yesterday. Been taken away from him here, but Yellowstar playing that Caitlyn up against SK was tearing chunks out of HiQbot's Cho'Gath, which was the tankiest player on SK. And now that Azubu have taken that early, Fnatic have had to answer with something a little bit unorthodox compared to what we've normally been seeing in the current meta. Kog'Maw, it's kind of fallen out of favour for quite a while now. We did see Mackler, in fact, play it at IEM Cologne. That was probably the last time I think I've seen it in competitive play. Did very, very well with it, very, very devastating. But that was pre-season 3 patch. Everything's changed now. He's come back in here. They do have a very nice comp for looking after him. You've got that Zyra ultimate to zone them out. You've got that Mumu ultimate to zone them out. You're then going to have Soaz leaping all over the place, cleaning up these low health champions that are trying to run away from Kog'Maw. But he still doesn't have an escape. He's still very squishy. So it's still going to take a lot of coordination and skill from Yellowstar to avoid all that damage coming out of Azubu.
Well, we do have Mundo and Dilly picked up here. We did see Mundo actually played in game number 1 of day 1 against Gambit Gaming. It worked out quite well for them. And we'll see how it works out for them here. And we did see Fnatic actually hovering, or kind of just, they seemed caught off guard by seeing that Caitlyn and Lulu pick up, because they took forever. They were down to the last few seconds before they picked up their champions. But we'll see how that ends up working out. Now Fnatic with their last pick here.
The last pick, which could be anything too. Peke has that Zyra.
Yeah.
Peke can play that Zyra AP.
Yes, he can.
And with her Zyra comp in, then it's possible. But then they could switch it to unrated, which would allow him to pick the AP here. And Twisted Fate's been left open this entire time. And they've got it.
See, to me, that is a ballsy pick. You're playing a champion who is the counterpart's favorite champion in the game and plays it most often. If you don't play well with him, I mean, you have to imagine that he knows every way to play or to outplay him. You have to do something special there to really catch him off guard. But you do have, I mean, nice global presence out of him. Obviously, at level 6, he will have those easy inks in the bot lane, so to say, with that Zyra, if he can land those grasping roots. But Caitlyn obviously going to be running that cleanse, so it kind of, will counter that a little bit. Then again, top lane, I mean, as well, Elise, very good champion, very strong, has a really high percent executes. Not to mention, has that cocoon to really lock down a champion.
Looking at that, Flame's running barrier. It might still switch in the last couple of seconds. We'll wait and see. But I like the thinking behind that. You think, okay, Elise, she's got steady harass, long range harass, using that venomous bite just over time, taking them down. Switch to spider form, uses a lands on top of you, execute damage, percentage health, nuke. If she's in the middle of that animation, you pop barrier, suddenly you're alive. Now, provided she's used all the cooldowns, you could either turn on someone, in Millie's case, switch back to human form, giving yourself a quick heal, get yourself back in and really start to turn it onto Soaz, or more importantly, just keeping yourself alive. So it's a nice idea. We'll see if it actually works with Flame. We'll see if Soaz has played against that, because barrier has been a big thing on AD carries for quite a while, but seeing it anywhere other than that, it's not something we've really seen over in the West at the moment.
Yeah, very true. And Panky, real quick, who do you have to win this game?
Who do I have to win this game? Fnatic. If they can take this game, they can keep holding on during the lane phase. That Kog'Maw comp is too strong.
Yeah, after the game yesterday, I should actually put my money on Fnatic as well. But guys, get excited. This is game number 1 of the day. We're going to go ahead and send you over to our casters, Jad, Joe, and Demon.
We are live. It is the semi-finals here, the League of Legends, Azubu Blaze versus Fnatic. And wow, what a game this could be. Interesting picks and bans straight away. Level 1 could well happen. Possible invade already coming, Jao. But take us through what you think could well happen between these teams.
Well, right now, it's really just a matter of the level 1 prep they've done. It looks like Azubu's walked clean through a ward, and Fnatic might look to make something happen early. They have a lot of level 1 crowd control. Zyra, Elise, and TF can all change.
Here we go, Lustboy in trouble. Sun card comes down. This could very well be first blood, but Fnatic not got the damage there to follow up. Lustboy escapes with his life.
That was a close escape. Fnatic doubled up a little bit, I think, and Rated may have missed his route a little bit, and they didn't chain all 3 just right. That could have easily been a kill on Lustboy, but as it was now, they didn't even burn a flash. So level 1, again, results in pretty much nothing happening, except Xpeke actually had to use his own flash and ignite.
And we're seeing the traditional Korean style from Lustboy here. Hasn't gone boots, just gone straight, flat out, bunch of wards. Wanted to get every bit of vision he could. You can see the ward in the top, the ward in the bush, just by the wraiths. And as it stands, we do look like we're going to get some traditional lanes coming out. So, Jack, let's start looking through these lanes. To start with, it's going to be Nidalee versus Elise in the top lane.
That's going to be the really interesting one, because Flame has been almost Azubu Blaze's weak point in the past, but he's really ramped up his game, especially in the few games they had against Azubu Frost in the OGN, and in this tournament specifically, he was dominating the top lane matchups. Nidalee and Elise are both incredibly strong laners. They're kind of 2 champions that neither have true ultimates, so all their power is in skirmishing. That's going to be an extremely dynamic and interesting lane to watch.
Blue buff here being started off, but Jack, middle lane. It looks like we're going to be having a bit of a switch there.
And the interesting thing about all that is Ambition took blue buff on Kayle. So even though it looked like they had the early good starts, they completely switched it up. Helios running through to probably counter jungle Mumu because they have so much pressure here. And now they're just going to take Ambition down to the bottom lane. So all our standard lane matchups, aside from the top one, are completely different.
So as it stands, you do see the duo lane. They have had a switch around, so they're going to force it down the bottom. Lustboy, though, on the full invade here. We're seeing Helios going to try and take the red away, and there's nothing to stop him, really. They know that they're there, but they're just not able to react to this one. So we are seeing Ambition, the mid lane, and now going to go down to the duo lane of N-Rated and Yellow Star on Kog'Maw. How much of a power machine is Kog'Maw going to be coming into this?
Right now, he's not that powerful, especially because Zyra doesn't really beef up Kog'Maw. If that was a Nunu Cog lane or even a Janna Cog lane, they'd be able to get a lot more aggressive. But as it is now, this is what a lot of people have done when they run Kayle. They do the 2-man mid, and Kayle's a really good 1v2 farmer just sitting in the tower, especially with the blue buff, because the mana constraints won't exist for her heal, which usually does if she doesn't have that blue.
So here we see Mundo once again. towards that top side of the jungle. We'll see if Helios here comes around. Cyanide actually just doing his golems. Helios did spot him there, and that won't result in any action, actually, as we see there in the middle lane. Speke going a little bit low. Just from that, frankly, amazing harass that you have with the range of Caitlyn.
It's going to be really hard for XPeke early. You can see his turrets already starting to fall. That is one of the strongest 2v1 lanes you could pick in what Azubu has with Lulu and Caitlyn. It's really going to be, he's going to have to pull some even more magic in this game if he wants to just survive in this lane and become a factor. If he goes to roam or uses ult anywhere, once he hits 6, that turret's going to fall, and Azubu's going to just continue pushing.
We can see the turret down to half health already. Lustboy and Captain Jack, this is what Azubu Blaze do. This is what they've done many times. Peke taking a heck of a lot of damage. He's going to have to back off. We're also seeing the invade once again from Helios, this time coming around towards the Wolves, but Cyanide was there to pick them up. He's going to have to come around, defend that mid turret. And Helios, he's been in their jungle for quite a long period of time already here.
And it's a pretty impressive opening by Azubu Blaze just in general. They haven't shown the gold lead quite yet, but you can see the pressure really accumulating in all the lanes. Nidalee set up shop in the top lane with a bunch of traps in the brush. Mid turret's going to fall any second now, and Kale is doing just fine in the bottom lane.
And that middle turret, we talk about so often about how the outer turrets are super important in terms of vision, and none more so than this middle outer turret. And for such an early stage of the game, I mean, we're just about to hit 5 minutes in. How much does that impact on Fnatic's game as a whole to lose that middle outer turret so early on, Jack?
It's huge because XPeke is not going to be able to do much on TF if he's consistently trapped at his second turret from the mid laners, and all of that was made possible because of the heavy counter jungling that Helios did onto Cyanide. There was no lane pressure at all to be able to stop that 2v1 mid, and I'm going to look for them to continue to do this now going down bottom lane.
Okay, so how much of a balance, bearing in mind the two APs this time have been the ones that are kept at the same level as the AD, the duo lanes. As it stands at the moment, the two top lanes are going to be the higher levels. We're seeing Cyanide potentially going to sneak in towards the top here. There's actually no vision of him. He's going to come around. Soaz is already on towards Flame. The Ignite going down. Cyanide hasn't used bandage shots. They're going to time it very nicely. This could well be a first blood. No, Flame is going to get away from that one. Very no time. They didn't quite time the two stuns together.
Slight escape. It was a really good timing on the gank, knowing Flame hadn't hit level 6 quite yet and he wouldn't be able to pounce away. But with the double defensive summoner spells that he's brought up top with Barrier and Flash, he was able to just kind of brute force walk away from that gank. And you can tell just by Flame's summoner spell choice and the fact that they're kind of leaving him up here, he's going to look to be a pest the entire game. He's going to probably build an extremely tanky Nidalee and just sit up there, sucking Fnatic away and allowing the rest of Azubu to play a 4v5.
You can see it down in the bottom lane, we've seen that switch coming around, obviously after Azubu Blaze did pick up that middle outer turret, and now they're going to put that pressure down onto the bottom. You can see that already chipping a good quarter of the health away from that turret now, and Yellow Star and Enrated here probably going to have a little bit more of a challenge in this bottom lane going forward.
It's a little surprising actually that Captain Jack is that far ahead of Yellow Star in minion kills, considering Azubu's been the team that's pushing. Normally, if you'd go all in and try to shove turrets, you fall a little bit behind on farm, but that's just not the case right now for Azubu.
Cyanide's trying to sneak in there. You can see the ward in the tri-bush, so they've already recovered that one. Meanwhile, up top, they're going up towards Flame. This time, they should be able to finish him off. They do manage to get the root. First blood for Peke, and the crowd loves that one.
They really needed that kill, and well executed. That was a small window where Ambition hadn't pushed up mid lane enough, and Flame still was pressing up despite losing his summoners from the previous gank. Even with that though, they're still falling behind. The absolute just pressure that exists from the rest of the Azubu lineup is still taking over. Look at that 3 trap set up outside that outer turret. Fnatic can't really move there.
Can't push out whatsoever in this bottom lane. Captain Jack and Lustboy here. We talked about, or at least Jason and Panky talked earlier on about how good a Lulu Caitlyn lane is in terms of pushing those creeps right up there. And we're seeing that time and time again here. Seeing now Fnatic going to be gifting their blue buff over to the man that picked up that first blood for them there, and the hero that's actually kept them in this tournament yesterday, if we think back there as well. But look at this bottom turret. It's almost gone, and that's going to be turret number 2 within this next probably 2 waves.
Just artillery machines down bottom. Nothing really stopping them right now. The good news for them is Captain Jack is out of mana, so they might not be able to spam down the waves fast enough, but they're so low in that bottom lane that they might not get it. As we see a bunch of posturing in the jungle, they might be going for XPeke, but Helios just isn't strong enough right now to do that.
They put a ward on the red buff as well. Meanwhile, down the bottom, Enray's in all sorts of trouble. The exhaust on towards Lustboy. Is Yellowstar going to help him out, though? He might be able to pick up a kill off the back, and he does manage to get the passive onto him. Lustboy should go down to Yellowstar, and it's a trade. Support for support, but it's the AD carry that picks up the kill.
And after that, they got the tower as well, so the pressure is continuing to build. Helios, jungle's gone. You have no reason to be there, guy.
He's going to back away. Mumu just picked up that red buff season. Cyanide actually recalling. But again, we talked about the pressure from Azubu Blaze. And look at this one. Flame in the top lane. Actually maybe in a little bit of trouble here. We do have Helios off towards the side, so he can come in there if an emergency rescue is needed. Currently just going to pull these golems out, but he may get caught out here. Cyanide and Soaz both coming in.
And then it's going to be Helios making a run for it. He's going to try and back away, but no, he just avoids the damage. Jack, we're also seeing a really early Oracle board out here by Lustboy.
This is going to be one of those games as the TFL comes in.
Stun card going down. There's the wild cards coming out as well. Can Flame escape? He is, of course, above level 6, but he's going to get trapped down. Another stun card comes out. Here comes the Lulu, but an amazing little Lulu ultimate is going to keep Flame alive from that scenario. Amazing stuff.
The defensive presence of Azubu there to keep Flame alive was incredible. Shields and heals galore. Lustboy, Kale, all coming in to help them out. And I feel like this is going to be one of those games where Azubu gets substantially down in kills, but just wins because they kill all the turrets and get all the farm. That's the way they're going. They're looking not to aggress, but to just kill buildings right now, and it's working quite well for them.
Well, we saw the exact same thing from WE versus CLG and IPL5. They just took all those towers so early on, despite the fact CLG worked the way back into the game. The pressure was just so strong from WE in that time, and well, Azubu Blaze, I guess they were kind of the originators of this. We saw them go to MLG New York, and they just stomped through Team Solar Mid doing just this, taking tower after tower, and that is the 3 outer towers all gone down now.
The biggest thing they're going to have to worry about actually is Helios getting behind on Dr. Mundo. He put so much time into counter jungling Cyanide that he's fallen behind in experience himself, and he really needs to be the tank for them. Flame's going to be up top lane pretty much the whole game distracting, so the other 4-man force needs a really tanky man to be able to exist with them. And right now, that's definitely not Helios on Mundo.
We've just seen Helios, to talk about him, picking up a pink ward there, even though they do have that Oracle still in the lineup as well. So we're going to be able to ward, weed all of those wards completely out for Fnatic. Obviously, Dragon is still there. We've not quite seen it being attempted just yet, but something tells us that's not going to be far away.
With the 3 turrets down, everyone's gone back, bought in some big items. You have the BF sword on Caitlyn, you have the Stinger onto Kale. They're just mobbing that dragon. The coordination is there. I wonder if Fnatic's going to try to stop this. They're not quite in position, though. They're
going to try and poke it from range, and Cyno stands straight on their trap. It is going to go down. They just need to back away. There's nothing to gain from this one. Cyno's going to have to be forced to flash away. And Azubu Blaze once again win out on the spear, even landing on towards Flame there. Just having to avoid the damage.
The dump of damage that went down onto Cyanide had to be quite frightening. Dr. Mundo was very low before that fight, so Fnatic might have been able to collapse in after the dragon, but because Cyanide got solo right at the start, they just decided to back away, and here the pressure just continues.
We're seeing that gold lead moving to above 2,000 right now, which not a good position for Fnatic to be in. I mean, we saw them yesterday, that last game against SK, they were behind on pretty much all fronts before, you know, they managed to turn it around and pull out that amazing victory. But here we go, Twisted Fate Ultimate.
Twisted Fate, Ekpeki comes straight in. Oh, the root just missing by a fraction of a second onto Lustboy, and he does back away, but they are trying to make use of that Oracle, clearing out all the wards.
And you could tell Fnatic was tired of it, but they just were not able to close. They burned a fair amount there. Xpeke's ultimate completely down now. They're just going to continue to push down. Despite all the catches that Fnatic has, they really have range stuns on 4 champions, essentially, that could just chain one after the other. Even with that, they're not able to lock down Azubu.
Azubu there. Just going to have to react to this one because Fnatic pushing a little bit on towards this middle turret. Both Enrated and Xpeke deciding they probably need to back away there. They've not got vision on that Azubu team, and they can't afford to be caught out in the top lane. We are going to see Curse of the Sad Mummy coming down here. Flame maybe in a little bit of trouble, but again, he manages to escape that one without burning flash. His barriers just come up, and we can see that the strength of Nidalee, especially when you go for those 2 summoner spells that can be used so defensively. She's so hard to lock down, Jack.
even if she's not building tanky and annoyance, she's hard to lock down. It's going to continue like this. You can see even in the lane, 111 to 79 farm, he's beating back Soaz. And when Fnatic is playing right, it's because Soaz is roaming the map and creating for them. That's just not possible right here. Xpeke has to do everything, but he only has that one Destiny cooldown, which is at 135 seconds, and it's not quite there. Luckily, they were able to smite steal away the blue, though.
Yeah, Cyanide with the smite still. Of course, smite won't be available. There's no really global objectives to go for anyway. You do have the dragons all down. So Flame continuing to push in his top lane, bullying out Soaz. Soaz building a little bit different from what we used to see on Elise here.
It's a little strange. He's going more for AP. You normally see the straight up tank Elise with the magic pen that's going for him, but he's been starved of farm pretty much this whole game. He hasn't had the freedom to do what he wants because Flame is just sitting in his jungle and his lane, keeping everyone of Fnatic just completely sucked up.
And let's have a look at the CS here as well, because it's pretty significant at this point. I mean, a good 20 CS lead in the top lane. Jungle is ahead. Middle lane is the only one that's a little bit behind there, but the AD carrier's ahead. Hell, even the support's ahead of this one. So overall for Azubu Blaze here, you know, they've got that control of the Dragon as well, and it's above a 2,000 gold lead 14 minutes into this game.
Xpeke, the one who's really the only person winning his lane, and that has a little bit to do with him getting pushed back and losing his tower early, just having more access to that farm that falls through to him, and because Ambition spent so long getting the blue buff early and just sitting in bottom lane. So it's really tricky for Fnatic here. You can tell kind of by the way they're building that they're trying to power up. Yellow Star having that Avarice Blade just sitting there right now really means he's not doing that much damage yet. So if there is a fight, it's not going to be that good for Fnatic.
As it is at the moment, you do see Elise returning from that mid. He's actually went for the halting guy, so he did go for standard build after all. He just decided to get the two bugs at the same time. Maybe he just double-clicked, I don't know, maybe he just made that error double-clicking. Oh, Ambition's going to get caught out here. He's well away from the rest of the pack, but they can just, again, catch Red. There's Captain Jack's now the target from Soaz, but they can't get close enough. And Captain Jack quite happy to walk back in, lay down a bit of damage of his own.
Yeah, he's got that range ability as well to, you know, to do that, to stand there and sit at the back of the fight and say, well, if you push out, I'm still putting damage onto you before you can even get in range to do anything.
And there's so much disengage that's coming out from almost both of these teams. One thing that we've noticed just studying Azubu Blaze is they're so versatile in their team comps. Sometimes they'll play those all-out kill dive comps like you'd see in Najin Swordplay, or they'll do something like this where they just starve out the other team in gold, don't give them any opportunities to farm, don't give them any opportunities for kills, and just siege down buildings. And they're doing a great job right from the start this entire game executing that strategy.
So Jack, here's a question for you. You know, we talk about this whole gold starving thing from Azubu Blaze side of things. How do Fnatic stop that from happening? What do they have to do to get right back into this game and stop that from really affecting them in the long run?
They need to find ways to just deal with the skirmish squad. So if they had an answer for Flame, if they had someone who could fight him or push him back in the top lane, then they'd have more versatility with the other 4v4. Other than that, they need to create hard initiates that punish the pushing of Azubu. Amumu is not strong early, so Cyanide was not able to do that quite yet. He got counter-jungled hard and he got pushed back, so he wasn't able to shut down their split pushing. Now that he's got his ultimate flash in, they're going for it here.
Here comes Peke straight towards Helios. They do manage to take down Helios. Can they turn it on 20 now? No, they don't manage to get the stun card. Peke's trying to trace on towards Lustboy. He has the flash. Another flash comes straight through, but the damage is still not quite enough. The Cogmore ultimate up from Rage. Couldn't turn it around. Captain Jack now coming in from the side. He's trying to lay down their damage from Rage. Ambition's going to get, they're going to get towards Peke here. He's going to try and repel, but no, he got caught out with the Piltover Peacemaker, the Zyra ultimate, trying to keep them at bay. It just stops one kill.
And that is just so mean. The hardest of initiates came in from Fnatic. It got one, and then it got turned around, and all the while, Flame was up top, pinging down that turret. It's only got 380 health left, and the dive continues from Azubu.
Ambition not messing around here, getting straight in there, and whilst not picking up that kill, whilst in the end picking up that kill, does manage to get it with Ignite in the end. You know, it's forced them away from this turret. It's almost down, and we can see their Flame in the top lane has now taken down that inner turret. And this is just amazing, amazing play. Not to mention either the fact that Nidalee that whole time was in the top when Soaz had to react to that fight in the middle. He's now 50 CS ahead of Elise in the top.
And 5 turrets to 0, you're just seeing everything collapse in. Fnatic wants to be able to suck in and fight 5v5, but they're just not allowed to. They're completely constricted to their base. Another dragon, another giant objective going down here, and this is another one of those textbook games by Azubu that they're playing right now.
It just seems to me that Fnatic wanted to keep it in the lane phase longer, and they've just not been able to. And now they're actually just getting pushed everywhere. They've only got one inner turret left. The rest of the base is just decimated. 5 for 0 in terms of turrets, and they're not even come really close to taking any of the turrets down. That's the problem. So how are they going to do this? What are they going to do? They've got to sit, they've got a turtle. They're obviously going to be able to defend their inhibitor base a lot better. But the split push, how much further can this really work?
It's reaching its breaking point, in all honesty. They are so far down in gold that they need almost a whole team to chase out Flame from a split push lane, which would mean the other 4 members of Azubu Blaze would just be able to go in and take more turrets at that point. And if they even reach up in a 5v5, it's going to be close just because of that 6,000 gold advantage so early on into the game. Fnatic needs a lot of time. If they could maybe hold at their inhibitor turrets, that would be enough, but because they're sitting at their inhibitor turrets, that opens up Baron, their red buff, their entire jungle, which is continually getting stolen, and it's just not really working out for them. They pretty much need another flash initiate from Amumu, and maybe they could get something to happen, but they're just so split up, it's not really working.
And we've seen that jungle taken around for what feels like 10 minutes by now that Azubu have been in that Fnatic jungle the entire time. We can see there that Elise going full penetration build here with Elise, but you know, 50 CS behind. Can they really hold up to that? And especially since the fact that Flame is split pushing the entire time. And
you look at the Elise build, yes, the Liandry's Torment kind of works, but he's only got 38 magic penetration. Flame has 202 magic resist. You're not getting through that. I mean, you have your haunting guys. You have to go, if he's looking for damage, he needed to go for a Void Staff, not for the damage over time from the Liandry's Torment. He just doesn't have enough gold to make those choices as they try another hard initiate.
Another hard initiate towards Helios, but they do not get it. And again, he just walks away from that one. Just strolls off, didn't even need to use flash, and that was just desperation move. Ultimate's used to try and get in there. Bandage toss came out, well, it's a bit of a waste for Curse of the Sad Mommy as well to try and get that one kill. So Static Shift just been picked up by Yellowstar. Yellowstar was kind of the saving grace against SK Gaming yesterday. He was really the power behind Fnatic.
Luckily, Cyanide didn't use his Curse of the Sad Mummy there. He did pop his Reverie, though. That's just a glass cannon Amumu build. He's going to be popping immediately as he goes in. And yes, Yellowstar would be the saving grace, but it's almost too much to ask for.
There's another turret taken down, 6-0 now. We're not far away from hitting a 10,000 gold lead for Azubu. And I actually wanted last night to find a different way to describe a well-oiled machine, but I couldn't find it. Meanwhile, we are going to see Flame under pressure.
They're piling straight onto him. They should be able to get the repel straight to him. He does. It's only Saz that's keeping up with them, though, and only just at that. And he's just going to run away. He's going to get the root out. Can he land it? That's the question. This has to be an important route. He does manage to get it. Is Pekka going to get close enough? The Ignite goes down into him, but again, it's just not enough. Lustboy braving it in towards that push there. They didn't follow through. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, they're continuing to push on the inhibitor turret.
As I said, well-oiled machine. Need a different way to describe it, but it's the same as Twisted Fate going to ulti in here. They've gone on towards Helios, who's, well, he's Mundo right now. He's got that giant spell in there. They do manage to get some bandage toss this time landing. There's the ultimate coming out of Kale. Curse of the Sad Mummy goes down. Cyanide goes low. Helios has managed to survive, and Ambition is going to go forward. Here comes the ulti. It's kill for kill in that lane. It's Cogmore that picks one up. They've taken down Twisted Fate, though.
But while this is all happening, Flame's continuing to push the bottom lane.
Azubu Blaze is just running away. They're outflanking and outmaneuvering Fnatic, which is funny considering Fnatic is the team with Twisted Fate. Normally you pick TF to do those sort of things, but the rest of the composition working around Twisted Fate doesn't quite work there. Azubu knew exactly what they were doing when they let Twisted Fate through without the pick or ban.
See that CS again increasing Nidalee not being involved really in anything in terms of team fights. It's been Fnatic that have gone as a team to try and shut this Nidalee down, but super mobile, those defensive summoner spells. Flame has managed to stay alive, only died that one time, and he's just going to continue to farm and to push and to farm and to push, and Fnatic have to deal with it at some point.
It's a really nice champion that Flame has added to his repertoire. When he first started playing top lane, he pretty much only played Aurelia. That was the only thing he knew how to do. Maybe he could play a bit of Jax, and he's really rounded himself out. He's practiced at the international competitions where, Azubu Blaze lost to Fnatic in the group stage. They had a pretty poor showing there from Azubu Blaze's standards, finishing 4th in that tournament, and they look so much better early on here.
As it stands, we do see Yellowstar trying to get that Infinity Edge. He's going to try and build that damage up. Now, the power of Cogmore can kick in, and it will be stronger than Captain Jack. But Captain Jack is a long way ahead. Actually, I don't know. Gold probably is 3-0. They probably were fairly even between these two. 8.9 to 7.1. I tell a lie, he's a hell of a long way behind because they've taken 6 turrets down.
The power of global gold, so to speak. On top of the 6 turrets, it's been a couple of dragons, and now they're working around Baron. Lustboy is just chugging Oracle after Oracle. You can see he actually, one just expired on Lustboy. He had another one sitting on his inventory, popped it again. So they're just completely controlling the vision of the map. They might just work around Baron, wait for everyone to chase down Flame again, and then go for it. Because again, they're trying to get Flame, everything being burned.
Wow, he's going to flash actually back towards his base. Soas going to go up in the air. There's the ultimate again coming out of Kayle, and that just shows how hard it is. Bandage Sauce actually landing from Cyanide, but that's maybe the death of him. Zyra ulti going to go down. Captain Jack and Helios both going low. That's going to be 2 kills coming down. Walk for Elise, walk for Cogmore. Flame may get caught out as well here. He's so very, very low, but somehow he's still alive from this one. That Cogmore ultimate firing across. They can't quite get it though.
Good fight by Fnatic. Now they're going for a dragon. That's the first hard initiation they've actually managed to stick. So they won that fight, mainly because Cyanide landed such a good Amumu wall, just catching people on the tip of it. Still down a lot though, still got a lot to recover from. That's a good start.
The bandage toss was actually helped by Flame because as soon as he caught him, he pounced in the same moment, which just dragged him that little bit closer. Very nicely worked there. But, well, Azubu for the first time when they collapsed in on that fight, kind of collapsed in and caused their own problems for Fnatic, so they do manage to pick up them kills. Peke goes back. What's he going to get? He's got himself, oh, there's of course a giant spell coming out for Soaz. Soaz is going to make himself more tanky, but again, Flame is back in this bottom lane, causing problems for the rest of the team.
He's never going to leave. They need to be able to punish more and more, but you saw how much they burned there. Unfortunately for Cyanide, he's been denied so long, he still has level 1 Curse of the Sad Mummy, so that thing's on 135-second cooldown, even with his CDR.
But the problem is, so now this split push, it's kind of come to a halt for Azubu. They've grinded up, they've got the 6 turrets, but they can't get any further. Every time they came to get there, the Fnatic power is bouncing them straight back.
This is the point where the split pushing teams have the barrier to break through. If they picked up enough of a lead from the early 6 turrets, if they've done it here, then they can usually fight through in a team fight. They just lost their last team fight. They haven't gotten much damage on those other turrets. It's on Lustboy and really the rest of Azubu to create action, probably around Baron with the split push, to make this happen, because the last turrets here, holding the base, are by far the most difficult ones to get down.
You see here, Yellowstar just taking away what he can for the jungle. Every little helps for Cogmore, that's for sure. I mean, he is behind on the CSs, but he's 4-0-1, and we know that Cogmore's just going to get stronger, stronger, stronger. Infinity Edge is in there, 8,500 to 9,800 gold behind, but that is, you know, just all to do with this global gold, Jack.
It's going to be on Yellowstar, in all honesty. The good news is Azubu Blaze doesn't really have the composition to dive onto him. Cogmore is pretty much the highest just stationary 6-item AD carry that they can get. Unfortunately, he's only at 3 right now, so he needs a lot more time. But if he can get there, Yellowstar will become an amazing force. They just need to create more time for themselves.
And meanwhile, they can jump onto Captain Jack very quickly, but Captain Jack, as we've seen many, many times in tournaments across the past, he has got one of the best positioning in the game. They are trying to collapse in towards the top there. Peke's been singled out. You can see Helios going straight in towards him, but he's going to ultimate away. He does. That's going to be the ace in the hole following through. He catches on him. Meanwhile, down the bottom lane, they are continuing to split push. Where is Yellowstar going? Yellowstar is coming around the back of him. They're going to try and catch Ultra. The repel comes across, the slow comes across, but again, they cannot catch Flame.
If he could have gotten the slowdown, he might have been able to get them, but this is one of the moments. Last time they all chased onto Nidalee, they fought in the jungle and Azubu lost. This time they're trying to force the Baron off of it. Let's see if Fnatic can collapse in. Cyanide's very good at stealing Barons. He could banish toss over and get an ultimate. The rest of Fnatic coming down for a potential fight.
Below half HP now, it's not going to be much longer before Azubu can take that one off, and they're actually going to back away from it there. They don't want Fnatic to be able to steal that one. This whole time, the entire time, Flame has been doing what Flame has done best so far in this game, and that is push, 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 push. It forces Soaz away, but this middle is being pushed as well.
Luckily for Fnatic, Azubu was low off the Baron, so they could take their first turret of the game. That's a great step. Flame did not get much of the top turret when he was up there split pushing. Soaz might finally be at a point where he's able to repel Flame's split pushing. A little bit of control gain, but we're going to continue to see this Baron dance for quite a while until something breaks.
But what you did notice there was Soaz was very low. So at the moment he's losing out in a straight up 1v1 fight with Flame, and that could well be a problem. Baron being initiated once again.
Here
we saw
again.
Peke wanted to start to go to the top turret, and immediately they pinged it. They've got no vision of it right now. They're going to come around. They're going to put a seed sampling straight in there.
Cyanide still trapped at level 10, so the Moonwolf is not that threatening. Baron getting lower and lower. They have to go in.
Here we go then. Baron is going to be taken down, and they tried to get in for the steal. They've lost the Mumu. Can't they force anymore? Zyra ulti comes in. There is the ultimate used by Kale to keep Helios safe from that one. They managed to get the route onto Flame, but will Azubu Blaze follow in for this one? Doesn't look like it.
Something may have finally broke there. They went for the Baron straight after the first attempt failed. Seemed to catch Fnatic a little bit off guard. Cyanide had to go in before the rest of the team could follow up, and he was so damn squishy that it almost looked like his ultimate didn't go off. Look at the poke from Caitlyn, and here they go. They might dive.
Lost Boys going in there. You can see Helios getting on towards Yellowstar. Yellowstar taking out very low, but they have taken the turret down. Even though it was the background, they're going to go towards the inhibitor as well. The rest of the team, Fnatic having to back away. You saw that sniper shot coming in, and well, Yellowstar immediately having to back off, and that's the first inhibitor of the game for Azubu Blaze.
Once the first one falls with something like this, it's going to be so hard for them to hold the other ones. They got that with the first little bit of the Baron buff, so they still have 3 more minutes of just almost free pushing that Fnatic is going to have an extremely hard time to hold off.
Fnatic going to have to bunch up with this one and, well, do it as a team, to be honest with you, because they can't handle it really any other way, being that far behind. But as we've seen, 4-0 on Cogmore, Yellowstar is going to be absolutely critical in trying to hold this one. And, well, it's not an easy task for them. We've just seen there the Infinity Edge being added to the Bloodthirster Shiv combo that Caitlyn already has. And that range, when it comes to pushing turrets, especially I'd say the inhibitor turrets, is perfect.
It's really going to be great for them. Caitlyn now becoming stronger than Yellowstar, at least for the time being. And you just look at the lane differentials in farm. Flame 90 ahead of Soaz. And it's not like Soaz has been doing much wrong, it's just that he can't do much against the pressure here. He's constantly sucked in other directions, whereas Flame gets to free farm wherever he wants.
The Dragon is up, and it's looking like Azubu are going to take this one for free. There's not a great deal that Fnatic can do to try and repel against this one. Instead, they're just in straight panic defense mode, trying to keep that base up. They still have the perfect ultimate combo they could try and land, and it could maybe pull something out. They have the super minions being pushed up to the base, so they're going to get the farm from that. They just need to worry about the top and bottom lane, and they just need to worry about that Trinity Force just being picked up by Flame.
I can't believe how far behind Cyanide is in this game. He's got 5,500 gold on Amumu. He's got 55 minion kills, 31 minutes in, and he's still not level 11. He is very much a very sad mummy right now because he can't do anything. He is completely constricted. You saw in the Baron, he tried to dive in and basically got killed immediately. He didn't build any gold per 10, aside from the Philosopher's Stone that he quickly upgraded into Shirelia's Reverie. It's really, really hard when you can't even rely on your Amumu jungler to do much.
So, can Fnatic hold this next push that will surely be coming out from Azubu players here? We can see that Mundo got that Warmox in there, got the Aegis. He's very, very tanky right now, and well, with the Kale ultimate in there to really save his bacon, if it comes to that even, with his ultimate running himself, he's obviously going to last a very, very long time when they're pushing here. This is something that Fnatic really need to do something about. Azubu now going to push his bottom lane out as well. They've got the minion wave coming in. Flame is just going to do what Flame has done time and time again already in this first matchup here, and that is push that top wave out.
This is actually the last wave that Azubu Blaze is going to have the Baron buff with them. If they can suck away a member, they know that Italy's top. They try to get the initiation, but the ban is missed.
But again, Helios is the front man. They catch on towards West Peke, going towards, going to the top, just going to try and defend it out there. And while that may leave you the bottom turret in, a bit of a problem there. You can see Captain Jack trying to put the pressure straight down. And again, they may try and force it. Like you mentioned, the Baron's still on. They want to try and do as much damage as can. They've taken half the hit points off that turret already.
Baron now gone. They just continue the pressure. However, Helios pops his ultimate just for the sustain. If an initiation comes, they have plenty of shields to probably repel it and just run away. And there's the crack. Flame just took the top turret.
Flame is pushing. He's been a thorn, to be honest, in the side of Fnatic throughout this entire game up until now. And I guess if team has just said, you just keep doing what you're doing, Flame, because right now this is something that's opening so many doors for us that, you know, Fnatic have got no way to push out of their base. They've had pretty much no jungle since about 9 minutes into the game, and that's another thing that Cyanide's really had trouble with. They've not had the freedom inside of their own jungle.
Azubu Blaze had a plan A, and they never had to change strategy. Everything has worked out for them in this game. Not many curveballs have been thrown. Now a desperation initiation coming from Fnatic.
Because the Sap Mommy's out, but you can see where's Helios taking down very low, but Lustboy also targeted, but again they just turn around because Captain Jack is the damage as his ambition, and they can't get close to them. Strands on the trap, and that is all they're going to get. Meanwhile, Flame is just beating on the inhibitor turret. It's a Nexus turret.
Luckily, they didn't get the third inhibitor turret, at least, for Fnatic. But that was just a poor showing. That was another 5v4. They burned their Mumu ultimate. Cyanide had finally hit level 11 and gotten in. But you can just see the oomph isn't there. They can't close anything onto Azubu Blaze. Complete control.
If you look down the CS there, it tells well, a big story overall. I mean, 329 to 219 from the top lane is the jungle. It's just such a massive difference. They've had, as I said, control of that jungle of Fnatic for such a very long time. I mean, Fnatic are ahead in kills, but the fact is that this game's not been about the kills, Jack. It's been about taking those global objectives, and for Flame especially, just pushing, and splitting Fnatic up when they have to defend.
So well executed. It's not quite as exciting as the base race we saw yesterday, but it's sure damn impressive from a tactical standpoint. TFL coming in, trying to get Lustboy.
They're going straight in there. You can see Lustboy does get stunned, but immediately just backs away. Helios throws out that cleaver, and they can't collapse on him. They're trying every time, but every time they do, Flame is in the back.
Gotta be frustrating.
Yeah.
Just chasing down Lulu constantly. Can't catch her. She just runs away, speeds herself up, laughs a little bit. What do? They cannot control whatsoever.
Again, Azubu just looking so good. We kind of talked about this on the way home yesterday, and it almost looks from a lot of the Azubu games from both Frost and Blaze, the way that they played is almost like they're following a script that they've written before they come into the game, and everything is executed so perfectly well.
It's so weird because they actually don't usually do the same strategy game to game either. So Fnatic's going to want to prepare for what just happened to them, but they're going to get hit by something completely different in game 2.
And you can see Soaz trying to keep the chase on towards Flame, but as has been the story of the game, you just can't catch that pesky Nidalee, and he's just going to run away again. So, Jack, we're looking like it's going to potentially be an Azubu Blaze first game. What sort of bounds would you look at? Anything based off this game?
Maybe Nidalee. It seems like that's the linchpin of the strategy. There's not many champions that would be able to pester up top lane quite as well as they did here, because even now, Flame isn't even comparing the Baron. He's sucking up Yellow Star with that. You can see 3 members actually going up, and Azubu Blaze is picking up a free Baron for it.
Yeah, and they know that they have to do something about Flame. Baron's been taken down, but where do they split the forces? Because Flame has shown time and time again that, you know, he is ballsy enough to just keep pushing. That, I mean, if he dies at some point, it's like, well, you know, okay, so I've died, but he's only died once up until now. If he keeps pushing and pushing, I mean, he's just picked up an Infinity Edge there. Like, when was the last time we saw a Nidalee build an Infinity Edge at this level of the game?
A couple minutes ago.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I can't remember. So he basically did that because even with just the Spirit Passage, Chalice of Harmony, and Hex Drinker, Fnatic couldn't get him. They could not chase him down, they couldn't kill him. So he's just making sure that he gives himself more damage, so when he split pushes even more, he'll be able to take down inhibitors and Nexus turrets even faster, because that's all that's left for him. It's pretty mean.
Pretty mean indeed. Dragging up, and you can see his Captain Jack's going to take that one on his own. He's got himself very tanky Infinity Edge, first that Static Shift, and another BF Sword, because why the hell not? When you're pushing this hard, I guess there's going to be the Mercurial Blade coming out there as well. Just see the moment. They are going to continue shoving through. This inhibitor did respawn in the mid lane, but it's only a matter of time before they get back in them. Fnatic holding out valiantly. We saw 3 inhibitors down. Azubu Blaze saw it themselves firsthand and did manage to come back from it, but not really the same team comp, not really the same closeness of game.
the gold is pretty large, but at the same time, Azubu has stopped from fighting 5v5 this entire time, and eventually they will have to fight 5v5. Maybe if Fnatic needs a chance, they have to create that fight while these inhibitor turrets are up. They pop a Reverie, but the disengage comes immediately.
Yeah, a Reverie to counter a Reverie. That's it. But Blaze, no, oh, wow! Flame going in there, and XPicky, he just stops going in there.
There's the initiation.
Sad moment coming out, and they're going to get on towards Lustboy, but well, they can't even get onto Lustboy. That is just the story of the game for Fnatic there. Azubu too strong. They pick up the ace. They are going to take the first game here. Azubu Blaze very strong. Great performance from them here. Just showing off exactly why they topped the Group A on the Friday morning. And there is the surrender from Fnatic. Wow, they're going to have to pick themselves up, dust themselves down.